Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about something deeply personal and universal: owning your journey. We live in a world where it's so easy to compare ourselves to others. We see highlight reels on social media, people showcasing their achievements, and we quietly wonder, am I behind? But here's the truth: your journey is yours alone. And when we constantly measure our path against someone else's, we lose sight of what makes our own story powerful. The first step to owning your journey is taking responsibility, not for everything that happens to you, but for how you respond. Where you are today may not be where you hoped to be, but it's where you start from. The moment you say, "This is my path and I own it," you take back control. Let's be real. The journey is not a straight line. There will be failures. There will be moments you want to give up, and that's okay. Because those setbacks, they're not roadblocks, they're teachers. They show us where we need to grow, what we need to change, and sometimes they remind us of why we started. And that brings me to something crucial: your why. When you know why you do what you do, when you have that deep sense of purpose, you can get back up every time life knocks you down. Your why becomes your anchor in the storm. Let's talk about progress. Too often we think we have to make giant leaps to succeed, but really small, consistent steps lead to big changes. It's about showing up on the days you don't feel like it. It's about moving 1 inch forward when a mile feels impossible. Don't forget, you don't have to walk this path alone. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, but also those who challenge you to be better. The right people will remind you of your strength when you've forgotten it. Everyone's journey is unique, and that is something we often forget in a world that constantly invites us to compare ourselves to others. From the moment we wake up, we are bombarded with images and stories of people achieving great things, hitting milestones, and seemingly living perfect lives. Social media, especially, has amplified this tendency. We scroll and see someone landing their dream job, someone buying a house, someone else traveling the world, and we think, why am I not there yet? But what we don't see are the struggles, the doubts, and the failures that also form part of their journey. What we see is only the highlight reel, not the full story. And when we compare our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, we rob ourselves of the chance to appreciate our own growth. It's important to understand that no two people have walked the exact same path. Our experiences, backgrounds, opportunities, and even our obstacles are different. What may take one person a year to achieve may take another 5 years. And that doesn't make the second person less capable or worthy. It just means their journey has a different timeline, and that's perfectly okay. The danger of comparison is that it shifts our focus from our own path to someone else's destination. Instead of focusing on our own goals and progress, we get stuck measuring our worth against standards that were never meant for us. We embrace the fact that everyone's journey is unique. We begin to give ourselves grace. We start to accept that it's okay to be where we are right now, even if it looks different from where others are. We understand that life is not a race. There's no single path to success. No universal timeline we must all follow. Some people find their passion early in life, others discover it later. Some achieve certain goals quickly while others take the long road, gaining more experiences and insights along the way. Both are valid. Both are worthy. By recognizing this, we also become more empathetic to others. We stop judging people for being in places we don't understand because we know that behind every person is a story we haven't heard. Instead of comparing, we can start connecting, learning, and being inspired without feeling inferior. You accept that your journey is your own. You give yourself permission to move at your own pace. You stop rushing toward an imaginary finish line and begin to focus on what truly matters to you. You become more mindful of what you want to achieve and more appreciative of the steps you're taking to get there. There is great power in that mindset because it brings freedom. Freedom from the pressure of comparison, freedom from unrealistic expectations, and freedom to live a life that's authentic to you. If you ever find yourself looking at someone else and feeling behind, remember this: your journey is not supposed to look like theirs. You are exactly where you need to be to learn, grow, and move forward in your own way. Taking responsibility for where you are and where you want to go is one of the most powerful steps you can take in life. Often when things don't go the way we want, it's easy to blame circumstances, people around us, or even bad luck. And while it's true that life throws challenges at us that are out of our control, what we can control is how we respond to them. Owning your journey means accepting that even if you didn't choose the starting point, you are responsible for the direction you take from here. It's about shifting from a mindset of helplessness to one of ownership. We take responsibility for our own path. We acknowledge that no one else can walk it for us. It's not our parents, friends, teachers, or society's job to create a meaningful life for us. That's our job. This doesn't mean you won't need help along the way. We all do. But the decision to move forward, to learn, to grow, and to change belongs to you. No one else can make that choice. Taking responsibility also means being honest with yourself about where you are right now. Sometimes that's the hardest part. It's not easy to admit when we're stuck, when we've made mistakes, or when fear has kept us from moving forward. But real growth starts with real honesty. If you can't face where you are, how will you figure out where to go next? The moment you stop making excuses and start accepting your current reality, you gain the power to change it. Owning your journey is recognizing that where you want to go requires effort, commitment, and sometimes sacrifice. Dreams don't become reality just because we wish for them. They take work. And when you take responsibility, you stop waiting for the perfect moment or the right opportunity to show up. You realize that you have to create those opportunities. You may not have control over every situation, but you always have control over how you show up and how hard you're willing to work for what you want. Empowering truths is realizing that your future is unwritten and that you hold the pen. You may have faced setbacks or tough beginnings, but they don't have to define your ending. Every choice you make today shapes the direction of your life tomorrow. Taking responsibility puts that power back in your hands. It allows you to move from a passive role in your life to an active one, where you're making decisions based on where you want to go, not just reacting to what's happening around you. When you own where you are and where you want to go, you gain freedom. Freedom from blaming others, freedom from waiting on circumstances to change, and freedom to start moving toward your goals right now. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Because when you take ownership of your life, you realize you are stronger, more capable, and more resilient than you ever thought possible. Failures and setbacks are often seen as negative, something to avoid or be ashamed of. But when you own your journey, you start to see them differently as essential parts of growth and learning. No one's path is smooth. Every successful person you admire has faced obstacles, made mistakes, and experienced moments of doubt. The difference between those who keep going and those who give up is how they respond to those moments. Instead of seeing failure as the end, they see it as feedback, as a lesson to guide them forward. We fail, it hurts. There's no denying that. It can shake our confidence and make us question if we're good enough. But if you look closely, failure has something valuable to teach. It shows you what doesn't work, what you need to improve, and sometimes what you really want. Many times we think we want something until we try and fail, and then we realize that maybe we're chasing the wrong goal. Other times, failure can reveal strengths we didn't know we had, because getting back up requires courage and resilience. Setbacks also remind us that nothing worth having comes easy. If everything always went smoothly, we wouldn't grow. Growth happens when we're challenged, when we're pushed out of our comfort zones, and when we're forced to adapt and learn new ways. Think about a time you overcame something difficult. Didn't you come out stronger on the other side? That strength, that inner power, is built through facing and overcoming setbacks. The powerful thing about embracing failure is that it removes the fear of trying. So many people never even start chasing their dreams because they are afraid to fail. But if you accept that failure is part of the journey, It no longer has the power to stop you. You know that if you fall, you can get up again. And that knowledge makes you unstoppable. You stop chasing perfection and start chasing progress. You give yourself permission to take risks, to experiment, and to figure things out along the way. Failures and setbacks also make success meaningful. If you got everything you wanted without effort, would you really appreciate it? It's often when we've worked hard, fallen, and gotten back up that success tastes the sweetest. Because you know what it took to get there. The perseverance, the sacrifices, the moments of doubt that you pushed through. When you embrace failures and setbacks as part of your journey, you become an example for others. You show that it's okay to struggle, okay to make mistakes, and okay to start over. You inspire others to keep going when things get tough because they see you doing the same. Don't fear failure. Don't be discouraged by setbacks. Own them as part of your unique journey. Learn from them, grow from them, and let them remind you that you are capable of rising no matter how many times you fall. Because it's not the easy wins that define you. It's how you face and overcome the hard moments that shape who you are. Knowing your deeper why, your purpose, is one of the most important parts of owning your journey. It's what keeps you grounded when everything feels uncertain. It's what pushes you forward when you feel like giving up. Without a strong why, it's easy to get lost, to feel like you're drifting through life without direction. But when you know why you're doing what you're doing, you have an internal compass that guides every decision, every step you take. Your why is not just about goals or achievements, it's about the reason behind them. It's the deeper meaning that drives you to wake up every morning and keep going, even when things are hard. For some people, their why might be their family, the desire to give them a better life. For others, it might be a passion for making a difference, creating something beautiful, or overcoming personal limitations. Whatever it is, your why gives you purpose and clarity. You know your why. Setbacks don't stop you because you're connected to something bigger than temporary failures. You're not just chasing success for the sake of success. You're moving towards something meaningful. Without a why, when obstacles come, it's easy to think, why am I even doing this, and give up. But with a clear why, you remind yourself, this is hard, but it's worth it because I know why I started. When your why is strong, it helps you say no to things that don't align with your path. So many people get distracted because they are trying to do everything, trying to please everyone, and end up feeling lost. But when you know your purpose, you can focus on what truly matters to you. You stop wasting energy on things that don't serve your journey and start putting all your effort into what does. Important part of having a why is that it keeps you motivated when results are slow. Sometimes we expect quick success, but real growth takes time. If you're only motivated by quick wins, you'll lose energy when they don't come fast enough. But if you're motivated by a deep purpose, you keep moving forward even when progress is slow because you know why it's important to keep going. Your why also gives meaning to the struggles along the way. When you face challenges, instead of seeing them as pointless pain, you can see them as part of a meaningful journey. You can remind yourself that every step, even the hard ones, are taking you closer to something that matters deeply to you. Your why can inspire others. When people see someone driven by a strong purpose, they feel it. It gives them permission to look for their own why. So by owning your why and living it out, you're not just changing your life, you're giving others hope and motivation to do the same. Okay, if you haven't yet, take time to ask yourself, why am I doing this? What really matters to me? And once you find that answer, hold on to it. Let it guide you, strengthen you, and remind you to keep going, because when you know your why, you'll always find a way. Progress over perfection is one of the most powerful ideas when it comes to owning your journey. Many people don't realize how much perfectionism holds them back. We often think that if we can't do something perfectly, we shouldn't do it at all. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. No one ever gets it perfect the first time or even the 10th time. If you wait for the perfect moment or the perfect version of yourself to start, you'll be waiting forever. Growth and success come from taking small, consistent steps, not from being perfect, you've learned in life. Walking, reading, riding a bike, none of those things happened overnight. You didn't take your first step perfectly. You stumbled, you fell, and you got up again. But because you kept going, you eventually learned. That's how real progress happens, step by step, mistake by mistake, until you get stronger. Focus on progress. You give yourself permission to start where you are with what you have. You don't need to know everything. You don't need all the answers. You just need to take one small step today, and then another one tomorrow. Over time, those small steps add up to something big. But if you focus on being perfect, you'll never take that first step. And without that first step, nothing changes. Choosing progress over perfection also means being kind to yourself when you make mistakes. Instead of beating yourself up for not being perfect, you recognize that mistakes are part of learning. Every time you try and fail, you are still moving forward. You are gaining experience, learning lessons, and building resilience. Failure is not the opposite of progress, it's part of it. Focusing on progress is so important is that it keeps you motivated. When you expect perfection, you set yourself up for frustration. You're constantly feeling like you're not good enough because you haven't reached some impossible standard. But when you focus on progress, you can see how far you've come. You can celebrate small wins. You can say, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm not where I used to be either. And that feeling of growth keeps you moving forward. Progress over perfection also allows you to be more flexible. Life is unpredictable and things don't always go as planned. If you're focused on perfection, unexpected challenges can make you feel like giving up. But if you're focused on progress, you can adapt. You can adjust your path without losing sight of your goal. You realize that even if the plan changes, you're still moving forward. When you choose progress over perfection, you stay true to your journey. You stop comparing yourself to others and start focusing on becoming the best version of you. You realize that growth is a process and everyone's path looks different. Instead of asking yourself, am I doing this perfectly? Start asking, am I better than I was yesterday? Because in the end, it's not about being perfect. It's about moving forward, learning, growing, and becoming stronger every day. That's how real success is built. Surrounding yourself with people who support and challenge you is one of the most important ways to own your journey. The people you allow into your life have a huge influence on how you think, how you feel, and how far you go. Whether we realize it or not, we tend to pick up the habits, beliefs, and attitudes of the people we spend the most time with. That's why it's so important to choose those people wisely. You need people who believe in you when you doubt yourself, but also people who are honest enough to push you when you're not giving your best. Having supportive people around you gives you strength on the hard days. We all face moments when we question ourselves, when the journey feels overwhelming and when giving up seems easier than going on. In those moments, a supportive friend, mentor, or family member can remind you why you started. They can encourage you, speak life into your dreams, and remind you of your strengths when you've forgotten them. Sometimes all it takes is one person saying, I believe in you, to give you the courage to keep moving forward. But support alone is not enough. You also need people who will challenge you to grow. These are the people who care about you enough to be honest when you're holding yourself back. They won't just tell you what you want to hear, they'll tell you what you need to hear. They'll ask the tough questions like, are you really giving it your all? Or why are you playing small when you could be doing more? This kind of challenge might be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when someone calls you higher, when they push you beyond your limits because they see your potential. You surround yourself with people who both support and challenge you. You create an environment where you can thrive. You're not walking your journey alone. You have people to lean on, but also people who keep you accountable. You stay motivated because you know others are rooting for you and expecting you to show up for yourself. Owning your journey also means letting go of relationships that hold you back. Not everyone will understand your path, and that's okay. But if someone is constantly negative, discouraging, or toxic, you have to ask yourself if that person should have a front row seat in your life. You deserve to be around people who lift you up, not people who tear you down. Don't be afraid to seek out mentors or role models who are further along on a similar journey. Learning from people who have walked the path before you can save you from many mistakes and give you wisdom that comes from real experience. Owning your journey is easier when you're not doing it alone. Find your people, those who see your potential, who believe in your dreams, and who will challenge you to keep growing. Together, you'll go further than you ever could alone. Growth is not a straight line. And one of the most powerful lessons in owning your journey is learning to embrace the ups and downs that naturally come with it. We often like to think that progress should always move forward in a smooth upward path. But the reality is that growth is messy. It comes with high moments of success, excitement, and confidence, but also with low moments of failure, frustration, and doubt. If we expect only the highs, we set ourselves up for disappointment. But when we accept that the journey will have both good and bad days, we free ourselves from unrealistic expectations and start appreciating the process for what it really is. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has faced setbacks along the way. There are moments when you will feel like you're moving fast, full of motivation and momentum. But there will also be moments when you feel stuck, like you're working hard but not seeing results. And that's normal. Just because growth slows down or feels invisible for a while doesn't mean it's not happening. Sometimes the most important growth happens beneath the surface, when you're developing patience, resilience, and strength. If you expect the journey to be perfect, every setback feels like a failure. But if you expect the journey to be full of twists and turns, you see setbacks as part of the process. You begin to understand that growth is about learning to navigate the hard days, not just enjoying the good ones. In fact, the tough days often teach you the most. They teach you how to keep going when things aren't easy, how to find creative solutions, and how to believe in yourself even when results are slow. The ups and downs is that they help you appreciate your progress. If everything was easy all the time, you wouldn't truly value the victories when they come. The struggle makes the success meaningful. When you finally reach a goal after working hard and facing setbacks, the feeling of accomplishment is deeper because you know what it took to get there. It's also important to remember that everyone's journey looks different. You might look at someone else and think they're moving faster than you, but you don't see the full story. Maybe they've faced different struggles, or maybe their season of growth looks different from yours. Comparing your path to someone else's is unfair because you're running different races. Focus on your journey, your pace, and your lessons. Embracing the ups and downs teaches you to be kind to yourself. You stop beating yourself up on the hard days and instead say, this is part of the process, I'm still growing, even if it doesn't feel like it today. That kind of grace gives you the strength to keep going instead of giving up when things get tough. Growth isn't about being perfect or moving in a straight line. It's about showing up every day, learning from every step, forward or backward, and trusting that even when the path is messy, you're still moving forward in ways that matter. Celebrating small wins along the way is one of the most underrated but essential parts of owning your journey. So often, we get caught up in chasing big goals, the final destination, the dream outcome, that we forget how far we've already come. We keep pushing, focusing on how much further we have to go, and in doing so, we miss the progress we're making right now. But recognizing and celebrating the small wins gives you the motivation and energy to keep going, especially when the road gets tough. Small wins are like stepping stones. They may not seem huge on their own, but together they build the foundation of your success. Every time you take a small step forward, whether it's learning something new, completing a task you've been avoiding, or simply staying committed when it would have been easier to give up, that's a win. And those wins deserve to be acknowledged because they represent effort, growth, and persistence. When you celebrate small wins, you remind yourself that progress is happening. Sometimes, when a goal is big or feels far away, it's easy to get discouraged and think, I'll never get there. But if you pause and look back at all the small steps you've taken, you realize you're already on your way. You're further than you were yesterday. This perspective shift helps you stay motivated because it turns your focus from what's missing to what's working. Celebrating small wins also builds confidence. Every time you recognize that you accomplished something, even a tiny step, you prove to yourself that you are capable of making progress. And the more you recognize these moments, the more you start to believe in your ability to succeed. Confidence isn't something you magically gain all at once. It grows with each action you take and acknowledge. Small wins matter is that they keep you energized for the long haul. Big dreams take time. If you wait until the final goal to celebrate, you risk burning out before you get there. But when you give yourself credit for the effort you're putting in along the way, you create moments of joy and fulfillment that fuel you to keep going. It's like giving yourself a pat on the back, saying, "Look at you, you're doing it, keep going." When you celebrate the small wins, you start to enjoy the journey, not just the outcome. You realize that the growth, the learning, and the person you're becoming along the way are just as important, if not more, than reaching the final destination. Life isn't only about reaching the top of the mountain, it's about appreciating each step of the climb. Celebrating small wins sets a positive mindset. Instead of focusing on what's left to do or where you think you're falling short, you focus on what's going right. This mindset shift brings more gratitude, positivity, and resilience. You start to see opportunities instead of obstacles. So, don't wait for everything to be perfect before you celebrate. Take a moment to recognize the progress you're making today, because those small wins are the proof that you are owning your journey, step by step. Owning your journey means fully embracing every part of your path, the highs, the lows, the lessons, and the growth. It's about understanding that life is not a straight line, but a series of steps, choices, and experiences that shape who you are. It's about letting go of perfection, focusing on progress, and being willing to learn from every failure and success. When you know your why, when you surround yourself with people who lift you higher, when you embrace the messy process of growth, and when you take time to celebrate even the smallest victories, you step into your power. You stop waiting for permission and start walking boldly in the direction of your dreams. So as you move forward, remind yourself this is your journey, no one else's. Own it, walk it with courage, with patience, and with the belief that you are becoming exactly who you are meant to be.